Glasgow. That's in about 20 minutes' time. But now it's motor racing, and as promised, the second round of the SO British Touring Car Championship. We're following all 13 rounds of Britain's premier saloon car championship. Round 2 was at Silverstone. Before that, a mystery needs to be resolved from round 1. Andy Rouse in the Caliber Sierra had won 9 rounds last year, and at Alton Park in the first round of this year's championship he was leading again, albeit hounded by the charging Rob Gravitt. But then came the moment that put Rouse comprehensively out of the race. Surely this wasn't driver error. Only later was Rouse able to pinpoint the cause.
The steering rack broke, of all things. We didn't realise that at the time. We weren't sure whether I'd made a mistake or it had a puncture or what. But having studied the film after the race, we could see that the steering wheel was no longer connected to the front wheel. I think it was just a faulty component in the steering rack itself. A bearing in the rack broke up and allowed the 2 gears to disengage.
But it all meant that as the field assembled for the second round on the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone, Rouse's challenge for the title was already handicapped by first round failure, just as it had been the year before. At Silverstone, though, Rouse has comfortably claimed pole position by almost a second from the Alton Park winner Rob Gravitt. The all-important class winners from Alton Park, the challengers for the overall title, Gravitt, the Class A winner, tied for the lead with James Weaver, first of the Class B BMWs, and John Cleland, absolutely dominant in the Class C 16-valve Astra GTE. On-board camera with Gravitt, as well as 6 other cars in the packed field, including James Weaver, who was likely to come under intense pressure from his pro-drive BMW teammate Frank Sittner. But the BMWs back down the grid as the field rounds Woodcote, approaching the rolling start. Second round of the SO British Touring Car Championship, with Rouse on pole, Gravitt alongside him, the Labatt Sierras of Tim Harvey and Lawrence Bristow waiting to pounce from the second row. As we join commentator Murray Walker.
The pace car peels off into the pit lane and the 15-lap race is on. Gravitt noses ahead. There's someone cutting across, and oh, there's a spoiler off. A spoiler onto the grass. Into Cox, Rouse, Gravitt, Harvey, Bristow, good. And there's a BMW with a spoiler off. It's Frank Sittner's, the British champion. So, round the left-hander at Maggots. Up towards Beckett's. Rouse, Gravitt, Harvey, Bristow, Graham Good. Then Chappell. Down the long hanger straight. Up to 155 miles an hour, and helicopter pilot Lawrence Bristow in the blue Sierra takes a look, stays behind Tim Harvey. Andy Rouse leads, Gravitt second, Harvey third, Bristow fourth. Out of Stowe, down towards Club, that's 4th gear, and 95 miles an hour. The free Ford Sierras still up front, then it's Graham Good in 5th position, behind Good, Dave Brodie and Hodgetts, and that is Guy Edwards, number 10. Now we're in car with Jerry Marney. Unhappy with his tyres during practice, he's chasing Mike Newman in the black Sierra. Approaching Bridge, the left-hander, past Newman, down into second gear at about 60 miles an hour. Ahead of us now, Guy Edwards, Mike Smith of the red and white Sierra, coming up to the chicane. They've got to peel off to the right when they go through there. They turn in, and Edwards hits Smith. Edwards hits Mike Smith's Sierra, and a solid stream of Sierras and BMWs pour out nose to tail. Up to Cops Corner. Rouse, 4 times British champion, leading. Then it's Rob Gravitt. Look at them. They're easing away a little from the scrap behind them between Tim Harvey in the blue Sierra, his teammate Lawrence Bristow. Now up to Chappell, building up to 150 miles an hour as they approach Stowe Corner. And it's 4 times British champion Andy Rouse leading Rob Gravitt in the Australian-built Sierra, and now this is Rob Gravitt's car. 22 years old, Rob Gravitt from Maidenhead, the winner and the lap record holder at Alton, chasing Andy Rouse. Up towards Abbey. Now we're in car with the race leader, Andy Rouse. Rob Gravitt looming up behind him. Up to Bridge. Watch it go down through the gears into the left-hander. And the gap between Andy Rouse in first place and Graham Good in fifth position is a mere 4 seconds. In car with Rob Gravitt through the chicane, 100 miles an hour. Down the start and finish straight, up towards Copse. Lap 3 is 1/5 distance. Here come the leaders. Rouse, Gravitt, the Labatt twins, Harvey and Bristow. There they go. Graham Good in fifth position. Dave Brodie well up. Now to Beckett's again, the slowest corner on the course, but it's still very, very quick, tight into the apex. Rob Gravitt is closing up on Andy Rouse's Sierra. Out wide into Chapel, cut across, down the hanger straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars burst out of Chapel Curve, and 6 seconds cover the top 7 as the leaders, Rouse and Gravitt, go into Stowe. And now we're in car with James Weaver. This is the battle for the B-class leadership. And Weaver has just taken it from Frank Sittner, who goes through and retakes it. 320 horsepower, 2.3-litre BMW M3s. And up front, the 1988 champion from Nottingham, Frank Sittner. Round the right-hander, Sittner ahead, then it's Weaver, then it is Godfrey Hall. Second in the class in 1988, and James Weaver is really harrying Sittner. Sittner can see the BMW in his mirror. Weaver coming up on the left as they approach the left-hander at bridge. And Weaver is through. Weaver is leading Class B. Into the left, into the right. Accelerating away up towards the chicane. And there are the 3 Class B leaders. First is Weaver, second is Sittner, and third in the black M3 is Godfrey Hall. Up to Copse. Sittner comes out from the slipstream of Weaver. He goes through on the inside. Frank Sittner retakes the class lead. Down to second place goes Weaver. And Sittner seems to be going just as well without a spoiler. And the 3 BMWs are catching Borner-Busch's Sierra in front. Absolutely together. This is heroic stuff. 960 horsepower there. Into Chapel again. Down the hanger straight again. BMW Finance, it says there. They're going to need some of that for Frank's new spoiler. And Weaver takes Sittner. No, he doesn't. Sittner's got the inside line down to Stowe. Weaver's going to have to go wide. Sittner keeps in tight and keeps the class lead. So it's still, and there's somebody off. That's John Clark out. And he's obviously hit something, and he's obviously very unhappy. Now we're in car with Jerry Marney, 11th place. 3 Sierras ahead. Jones, Smith and Van Cowen. And Jones spins. Carl Jones spins, he's stationary, and the BMW battle is approaching, and this is it. Sittner goes ahead of Weaver, and Jones rejoins right in front of the BMW. Sittner comes out of the corner first, then Weaver behind him. Jones has fallen into place between Weaver and Godfrey Hall. Out of the complex, over the line, and in this Class B Titanic scrap, it is still Sittner, Weaver. Behind the yellow headlighted Ford Sierra is Godfrey Hall in third place in Class B. What a fabulous scrap this is. This is the car that's won the European Championship for the last 2 years. And look at the difference at the front of these 2 white BMWs. Sittner, no spoiler. Weaver has got one. Now, it must make a difference somewhere on the circuit that James Weaver has got better aerodynamics by virtue of the fact that he has got a spoiler. But up front there is Andy Rouse, leading Rob Gravitt, number 21. You can see how close Rob is. He's not giving Andy any rest at all. And back at Stowe, it's still Sittner, Weaver. There's Jones in the Sierra. Behind him, Godfrey Hall. Absolutely on the ragged edge, drifting out over the rumble bars. Now we're with Weaver, approaching Abbey. He's closing up on Sytner. He's going to come out of Abbey faster than Frank. He's got the momentum. He's pulling ahead. Weaver is ahead. But Frank Sytner is not giving up. He is fighting on. Look at him. Number 33. Nothing in it. Out of the chicane. Down the straight into Copse yet again. Weaver, Sytner. Carl Jones still can't get past them in the 500 horsepower Ford Sierra. And Rob Gravitt is fighting too, still with the race leader, number 1, Andy Rouse, as they lap the Class D 1600cc Toyota Corollas, and they are lapping nose to tail at some 108 miles an hour. Stab of flame as Gravitt overruns on the turbo. He's right in the slipstream of Andy Rouse now. He's going to try and get through as they come up to Abbey. It's quite possible. Into Bridge. Well, last year it was Andy Rouse all the way. 9 dominating wins from 12 races. But Rob Gravitt's really making him work this year. Into the chicane. Out of it. They're lapping the Class D leader, Phil Dowsett, in the 1600cc Toyota Corolla. Copse. But behind them, approaching Bridge, there's a solid wodge of cars, and Carl Jones is ahead of the BMWs. There he is. But look at Sytner with the blue screen. He's through on the inside. He hits Weaver. He's onto the grass, and Weaver passes him, and Weaver is ahead again. But the way Frank is pushing, can he stay ahead? Well, into the chicane. Weaver ahead, Sytner second. In car with the BRDC sports car champion Tim Harvey, third in the Sierra, down hanger. Lawrence Bristow is right behind him. And a great wrench at the wheel by Tim Harvey. Bristow through on the inside into third position, out of stow, and that's the trouble. Tim Harvey has got a puncture in the left rear and more M3 action. That is the ex-Saab champion, John Llewellyn. He's lost it, he's recovering, accelerating away. Lost places there, of course, and here's Andy. Cool, calm, and still leading in the 500 horsepower, turbocharged 2-litre Ford Sierra. But behind him, there is a new lap record, Rob Gravitt, at 108.21 miles an hour. And lap 10 is 2/3 race distance. Rouse, Gravitt, Bristow, Good, Hodgetts, Brody. And into the pits comes last year's Silverstone winner Jerry Marnie from 10th position. Slowly crawling in. And here's Tim Harvey limping in to get that left rear changed. So, what's the trouble, Jerry Marnie?
The ignition system's gone completely dead. They're just trying to fix it now, but looks like it's fairly terminal.
Well, it's all happening. Tony Crudgington's got a smoky old problem with the Toyota there, and coming up fast behind him are battling BMWs. Crudgington moves across. He's going to go onto the grass. No, he's not. He's going to go onto the circuit. What is he doing? Past him go the BMWs. Weaver ahead. Now, 1988 British champion Frank Sytner won 11 out of 12 class victories last year and the championship. But the talented James Weaver, and this is him, beat him at Alton Park, and it looks as though he's going to beat him again. Down a gear. Bang! Sytner's hit him up the back, look! Out of Chapel. Well, Sytner really is pushing hard. Not content to sit behind his boot lid, he's trying to open it. Down the hanger straight. And Sytner seems to be prepared to drive over the top of Weaver if he has to. He's swarming all over the car in front. And it frankly amazes me that Sytner goes so quickly without that spoiler, because Silverstone is a quick circuit where you need all the aerodynamic help you can get. But it's Class B B, Weaver leading, 33 Sittner in second place. Weaver approaching Abbey now at about 140 miles an hour. This is what he sees. And as they come up to the left-hander of Bridge, incredible! Sittner is trying to pass, there! Right up on his side, he pushes Weaver onto the grass. He literally smashes his way past. But look at that smoke. That'll be the tar grinding against the BMW bodywork. How long can it last? Here's how Weaver sees it. Into the left-hander and crump onto the gravel bed. There goes Frank on the left. Well, this is more like stock car racing than touring car racing. And it's almost the end of the race. In fact, here is Andy Rouse coming out of the chicane to win round 2. And Rob Gravitt takes second place. But who's going to win the BMW brawl? It's Frank Sittner ahead, but 32 Weaver is closing and smoking too, like Sittner. Down to Stowe Corner. They're coming up to pass one of the amazing Vauxhall Astras, which are pulverising Class C. This is the last lap for Sittner, leading Class B. Weaver with the red headlights in second place, number 32. And it looks as though Sittner's aggression is going to pay off. But is it? As they approach club, James Weaver is closing. They're almost home now. They've only got to do Abbey, Bridge, the chicane, and that's the end of the race. And here's Weaver. He's going to take Sittner. He's closing all the time. Sittner goes into the left-hander and Abbey. He's lost it. He's off. Wow. That was undoubtedly a burst tyre. So James Weaver wins the class again, and he deserves to. But I'll tell you this, there's going to be a brisk demand for BMW body parts tomorrow. Weaver comes home, but it's overall victory for Andy Rouse, with Rob Gravitt second, Bristow third, Good fourth, Brodie fifth, and Chris Hodgett sixth. But what did James Weaver think about his hell on wheels?
You know, Frank and I are obviously racing each other, but normally when you overtake somebody, you get alongside going into the corner, and it's your corner. But if you start trying to overtake halfway between the turning point and the apex, when it's not really your corner, of course, we're all going to meet in the middle. And every time Frank thought he was anything like close enough, he'd just come down the inside and try and knock me off the road. And, you know, it's impossible to race against something like that.
I mean, is that brain fade or aggression?
Well, Frank's one of the most aggressive people I've ever raced against, but we're in the same team, and if he can't overtake me cleanly, I don't really think he should drive like that.
With a couple of laps to go, I knew the only way to win that really was to take a pretty serious chance somewhere, preferably somewhere a bit slow, or the slower corners, just to try and get through, which sort of worked, but James quite rightly closed the door quite firmly. We touched. I came off best of that. We both struggled around the last lap with tyre smoke and anything else pouring off the car. As I turned into Abbey, with effectively 2 corners to go, the left rear tyre blew. Well, the rest is fairly obvious.
But spectacular competition. Things have changed little since last season. But what of the other joint championship leader after the first round, John Cleland in the 16-valve Astra GTE in Class C? Because of a wheel hub failure, he'd qualified last in class, but rapidly made up the ground off the start line. It takes him just the length of the straight to make short work of the Class D Toyotas, blasting past Phil Dowsett and Jeff Kimber-Smith. In his sights next, Mike Jordan's Class C Peugeot 309 GTI. He'd be past him by maggots. Further on that first lap, down the hangar straight, and he waves the Class C leader Alan Minshaw in a Volkswagen Golf GTI out of the way. Last in class to first inside the first half lap. And Cleland wasn't stopping there. Pretty soon he was up among the Class A Sierras, like Dave Pinkney, and was equally ambitious, equally unforgiving. John Cleland on his way to an excellent 19th overall, and the championship lead on his own. Victory in Class D went to Phil Dowsett in the Toyota Corolla FX GT. We were travelling right up alongside the first round winner, Jeff Kimber-Smith, the early leader in Class D, battling with Tony Crudgington in the similar Corolla GT. But what Kimber-Smith is also battling is an engine that's on the point of giving out after just 2 laps. Crudgington pulls away and Phil Dowsett also gets past. So it's between Crudgington and Dowsett for the class points, a result that's decided at the end of the lap. Phil Dowsett, a man who came so close to the overall title last year, struggling to get a full season's deal together this year, lines his man up on the exit to Woodcote for a passing manoeuvre down the straight. Mike Jordan's Class C Peugeot in close attendance, but Phil Dowsett the winner of Class D. The overall table after 2 rounds shows Cleland with 2 victories and 2 fastest laps, leading from